Hello and welcome everyone, it's Capcan. We're looking at our Destruction talent tree from the Dragonflight, the Destruction Warlock talent tree from Dragonflight. And we're starting from the Chaos Bolt. 3 seconds cast, 2 Soul Shards, unleashing a devastating strike, Blast of Chaos, dealing a critical strike for... A critical strike, straightforward. Okay, chaos damage. Damage is further increased by... Oh, damage is further increased by your critical strike chance. Okay. Then Conflagrate. Instant 12 seconds, almost 30 seconds cooldown. 2 charges trigger an explosion on the target, dealing 93% of spell power fire damage. Generates 5 soul shard fragments, which is quite basic, just like as Chaos Bolt is for the specialization. Rain of Fire. Our main AoE calls down a rain of hellfire, dealing fire damage over 8 seconds to enemies in the area. 3 soul shards and instant cast, as well as, so here's 2 soul shards, 3 soul shards, everything as it should be. Choose one. Reverse entropy. Your spells have a chance to grant you 15% haste for 8 seconds, approximately 2.5 procs per minute. And then internal combustion. Chaos Bolt consumes up to 5 seconds of Immolate's damage over time effect on your target, instantly dealing that much damage. So internal combustion is more of a bursty talent against single target, especially good in PvP. And reverse entropy is just overall good talent that gives you haste increases. Yes. Backdraft. Conflagrate reduces the cast time of your next Incinerate, Chaos Bolt or Soulfire by 30%, maximum 2 charges. And it's very weird, so yeah, Backdraft is our baseline stuff that we have, and your Conflagrates always decrease your casting time of your channeled spells, and you're feeling way better when you're casting them this way. And it's interesting for me that they went and give it us it in way of a talent and not just a straight up, but okay, you're probably gonna take it anyway. Choose one. Roaring Blaze. Conflagrate increases your Immolate, Soulfire, Channel, Demon Fire, Incinerate, and Conflagrate increase your Conflagrate damage to the target by 25% for 8 seconds, which is definitely single target oriented. Or Conflagrate gains an additional charge, which is definitely not as heavy focused on single target damage, and which gives you just additional generation of soul shards in any situation. Okay. Explosive Potential reduces the cooldown of Conflagrate by 2 seconds. Additional charge, but you don't really need an additional... Wait a second, yeah, you don't really need an additional charge in all situations anyway, because you're probably gonna use it on cooldown and it has 2 charges already. Yeah, so maybe, yeah, it's a little bit interesting. Reduces the cooldown by 2 seconds. Channel Demon Fire launches 15 bolts, so channel 3 seconds, 25 seconds cooldown, launches 15 bolts of Hellfire over 3 seconds at random targets afflicted by your Immolate. Within 40 yards, each bolt deals 20% spell power fire damage to the target and some fire damage to nearby targets, which means that it is very, very powerful ability for you to have in AoE situations, especially, and not really only in AoE situations, and it looks cool. It just really looks very cool, so you're hurling tons of these fell bolts into the targets that have your Immolate. If it's only one target, then you're gonna launch all of the bolts at that concrete target. Channel Demon Fire fires an additional 2 bolts. Each bolt increases the remaining duration of Immolate on all targets hit by 0.2 seconds. Oh, and it gets an uptime of Immolate more as well, and it's probably better for single target, where you can like get your duration of Immolate way better, way higher than in AoE, but still additional 5 bolts, more damage from the single cooldown, just great. Soulfire burns the enemy soul, dealing massive amounts of fire damage, and applying immolate generates 1 soul shard, but instead we have 4 seconds cast time, which is, this skill was a talent previously. It was totally broken in the early game, in the early parts of the game while you're leveling. How it is on the cap level right now, I don't really know, because I haven't played Destruction in a while. 45 seconds cooldown. Yes, it's just very bursty spell, and it generates you stuff. Shadow Burn blasts a target for 80% of spell damage. Shadow Flame damage, gaining 30% critical strike chance on targets that have 20% or less health. 2 charges, 12 seconds recharge, instant cast, restores 1 soul shard and refunds a charge if the target dies within 5 seconds. So it's very good. It's 100% very good on your solo activities, and it can be a good addition into your rotation in probably some situations in raids or dungeons as well. Decimation. Your Incinerate and Conflagrate casts on targets that have 50% or less health reduce the cooldown of Soulfire by 5 seconds. Oh, so you can even lessen the cooldown of the bursty spell as well. Alright. Conflagration of Chaos. Conflagrate and Shadowburn have a 25% chance to guarantee your next cast of the ability to critically strike, and increases damage by your critical strike chance. Okay, so more for the crit, for the people with lots of crits, more damage on your instant abilities. Alright, which is, yeah, so addition of both Shadow Burn and Soulfire, if you want to combine them and get some additional stuff that reduces cooldown and makes them better, creates way different rotation that we've currently had. Yeah, and it's pretty interesting. Ruin increases the damage of Conflagrate, Channel Demon Fire, Shadow Burn, and Soulfire by 10%. Yeah, and you really see on which skills this part of the tree relies. So it has its own signature skills increased. Choose one. Mayhem, as probably a work in progress or something like that. Your single target spells have a 25% chance to strike a nearby enemy for 60% of a normal initial damage. Okay, yes, I guess that's why you have like work in progress mark on that one. And Havoc marks a target with Havoc for 12 seconds, causing your single target spells to also strike the Havoc victim for 60% of normal initial damage, 30 seconds cooldown, instant. And that's our main cleave ability that we've had in this class, in this spec, for the longest time. Choose one. Pandemonium. Havoc lasts 3 seconds longer, and Mayhem has an additional 10% chance to trigger. Man, I really doubt that they will get Mayhem in the current state, but if they do, that's gonna be very interesting. Or Cry Havoc. Chaos Bolts duplicated by Mayhem or Havoc explode, dealing damage to targets within 8 yards, which means that your Chaos Bolts are even more reliable choice in complete AoE scenarios, and not only in splash scenarios where you have 2 targets. Okay, interesting. Increases the duration of Immolate by 3 and then 6 seconds. Rolling Havoc. Each time your spells duplicate from Havoc or Mayhem, gain 1% increased damage for 5 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. That's definitely... It's definitely gonna be way more efficient for Havoc than for Mayhem, probably because it's more consistent. You can stack the damage buff way more reliably. Yes, and then it's go up to 2% increased damage. Yeah, so in terms of Havoc, it's definitely pretty good, because you're using your Havoc, probably you're using your other DPS cooldowns in the meantime, and you're gaining increased damage again from this stuff as well, which is great for Mayhem. If it's just passive procs from time to time, it's probably not gonna be as uptime efficient. and as cooldown efficient. It's not gonna be. Yeah, it's not gonna stack as well, just that's what I want to say. Backlash increases your critical strike chance by 3%. Physical attacks against you have a 25% chance to make your next Incinerate instant cast. This effect can only occur every 6 seconds. So this one relies on you taking physical attack damage, and just gives you straight up critical strike chance, which is pretty interesting as well. So yeah, definitely not bad talent, but interesting. Flashpoint. When your Immolate deals periodic damage to a target above 80% health, gain 4% haste for 10 seconds, stacks to 3 times. Oh, and it was 2% haste. So you can get 12% haste on bosses. Like... Oh, wait a second, do we have a Cataclysm? Oh, we still have Cataclysm. Yeah, with Cataclysm, if that's M+ dungeon where you have pretty beefed up enemies, then maybe it's gonna be good even if you're using like Cataclysm and multiple immolations going around, and they're proccing and stacking your haste on the start of the pack very consistently. Yeah, very, very interesting and big increases to haste. Now let's go with these 2 talents, and then we will check this point of this part of the tree. Eradication. Chaos Bolt increases the damage you deal to the target by 5% for 7 seconds, and then 10%. So yeah, that's like straightforward single target talent for the damage on bosses in raids. Ancient Remains. Chaos Bolt and Incinerate deal 5% increased damage to targets afflicted by Immolate, which is again single target focused pretty hard. Yeah, just single target oriented stuff. Alright, Pyrogenics. Enemies affected by your Rain of Fire take 5% increased damage from your fire spells. Okay, and it goes very good with Cataclysm. So Inferno. Rain of Fire damage is increased by 20% and has a 20% chance to generate a Soul Shard fragment, which is in theory cool. Of course, you're getting more Soul Shards, you're having increased damage on your Rain of Fire, but you probably don't really... You're not skipping Cataclysm, man. This is an opener to your every fight. But maybe it was changed somehow. Let's check the skill itself. So 2 seconds cast time, 30 seconds cooldown. Calls forth a Cataclysm to the target location, dealing 180% of spell power for Shadow Flame damage to all enemies within 8 yards and afflicting them with Immolate. Agony, Unstable, Affliction, Corruption, or Immolate. So that's for... Does any other... Man, if other specs get Cataclysm as well, it's gonna be very interesting. So yeah, you're like... so it doesn't give any Soul Shards from straight up, but still you're hitting everyone with your Immolate, and you're starting generating Soul Shards with Immolate. And you're getting damage in big, bursty, good opener for your M+ packs. Yeah, you're probably not gonna take Rain of Fire, and especially enemies affected by your Rain of Fire take 5% increased damage from your fire spells. Of course, it goes on to the Rain of Fire itself, but yeah, it's gonna increase Cataclysm's damage as well. So if you're in the mid of the battle and you used Rain of Fire, your Cataclysm went off CD, you're banging them with increased damage with Cataclysm and Immolates. Yeah, so like Cataclysm is just so good. Fire and Brimstone. Incinerate now also hits all enemies near your target for 30% damage and 25% damage. Which is probably 100% taken in if you're going in plus. This part of the tree, way more single target oriented. These talents, single target oriented as well. Not this, but these two. And here we have our AoE path, and like Incinerate, you're definitely... Oh, no, wait a second. Incinerate, not Conflagrate. Oh, well, you're still gonna use Incinerates as well, but maybe it's not that much of a damage 25% damage of incinerates of your feeler's spell that you're using only when you don't really have enough. 96%, so it's like 25% of spell power for each incinerate that will go to additional targets. Yeah, I don't really know how efficient is that when it takes 2 talent points. So that's the question. Increases the damage of immolate by 13 and probably 25% there. Okay. We'll do it like that. This one we've saw. And Grimoire of Sacrifice. Instant 30 seconds cooldown. Sacrifice your demon pet for power gaining its command demon ability and causing your spells to sometimes also deal 43% of spell power additional shadow damage, lasts 1 hour or until you summon a demon pet. So there was quite a bunch of stuff that you get from your demon, and especially 10% of all damage you take is taken by your demon pet instead, which is like so powerful. 10% damage reduced just all the time. Maybe Grimoire of Sacrifice is way better for damage. You need to test the numbers. It's pretty complicated to just get the right decision from your S with me sitting here and like thinking. So yeah, it's cool choice. You can play without your pet. And which one is gonna be better, I don't really know. Let's go with this part of the tree first. Ritual of Ruin. Every 15 soul shards spent grants Ritual of Ruin, making your next Chaos Bolt of Ray or Rain of Fire consume no soul shards and have its cast time reduced by 50%. Every 15 soul shards, which is quite much. Okay. Master Ritualist. Ritual of Ruin requires 3 less soul shards and like 5 less. Oh man, I thought there's gonna be 6 less. So 10 every 10 soul shards, which is way better. Okay. So some procs, some additional damage procs for your, not additional, for your rotation. Burn to Ashes. Chaos Bolt and Rain of Fire increase the damage of your next 2 incinerates by 15%. And then 30% and stacks up to 4 times. Okay, that may gonna do well for this part, and your incinerates are gonna hit harder for AoE as well. Avatar of Destruction. When Chaos Bolt or Rain of Fire consumes a charge of Ritual of Ruin, you summon a Blasphemy for 8 seconds. Summon a Blasphemy from the Twisting Nether, impacting for 60% of spell power, fire damage, and stunning all enemies in the area for 2 seconds. The Blasphemy will serve you for 8 seconds, dealing 40% of spell power, damage to all nearby enemies every 2 seconds, and generating 1 soul shard fragment every 0.5 seconds. So so this one is if you're going into Ritual of Ruin, you're getting your Master Ritualist, you're 100% want your Avatar of Destruction. And wait a second, where is the Infernal? So Infernal is optional, because when I saw here that it stuns all enemies in the area for 2 seconds, I've instantly thought of Infernal, and you don't really have it here. Oh, that's gonna be a very tough decision. Very tough. Okay, Embers of the Diabolic. Incinerate now generates 100% additional soul shard fragments, which means that you're getting way more resource for your spam, and it's quite powerful. Power Overwhelming. Consuming soul shards increases your mastery by 0.5% for 10 seconds for each shard spent. Gaining a stack does not refresh the duration, and then it's gonna be 1%. So that's if you have lots of mastery. Probably Madness of Ajakir. Chaos Bolt increases the damage of Chaos Bolt by 12% and reduces the cast time of Chaos Bolt by 10% for 4 seconds. Rain of Fire increases the damage of Rain of Fire by 12% for 4 seconds. Shadow Burn increases the damage of Shadow Burn by 12%. So that's our Shadow Burn. Yeah, it's just for the prolonged fights. It's like buffs, but well, not really. Yeah, it's just buffs for your spenders and for the Shadow Burn. Man, it's quite interesting. Yeah, you definitely like compared to some talent trees, especially some hunter ones, some paladin ones. Here you definitely have way more choice of combining different stuff and looking how it will go. Choose one. Chaos Incarnate. Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, and Shadowburn always gains maximum benefit from your mastery chaotic energies. Okay. Okay. Dimensional Rift. Instant. 45 seconds recharge. Oh, I'm sorry. And 3 charges. 3 charges, 45 seconds cooldown. It rips a hole in time and space, opening a portal that damages your target. Your target, not targets. Generates 3 soul shard fragments. So additional single target cooldown, I guess, which sounds quite interesting, but we don't really have any damage numbers here. Has 3 charges, 45 seconds recharge rate. Okay, maybe for some burst potential. It's interesting. Definitely a bunch of different choices can be done there. Let's go like this. Summon Infernal. Signature ability. Very, very far down below. Instant. 3 minutes cooldown. Summons an Infernal from the Twisted Nether, impacting for 60% of spell power, fire damage, and stunning all enemies in the area for 2 seconds. The Infernal will serve you for 30 seconds out of 3 minutes cooldown, dealing additional damage to all nearby enemies every 2 seconds and generating 1 soul shard fragment every 0.5 seconds. So Infernal was one of your juiciest abilities that you could have used on the pack of enemies. And here we probably have Infernal's buffs. Your Infernal's melee attacks cause its target to take 15% increased damage from its immolation, stacking up to 15 times. Holy shit, okay, it's quite cool. And it's 30% increased damage. Alright, so you're really relying on your Infernal damage and on your Infernal attacking correct target. Yeah, that's more of a single target stuff. Definitely crashing, probably if your Infernal's melee attacks aren't AoE. Crashing Chaos. Summon Infernal reduces the soul shard cost of your next 3 casts of Chaos Bolt, Shadow Fury, or Rain of Fury. Man, that's such a PvP talent. Like, your bursting window is gonna be hot as hell. With this thing, 6 casts. Oh, but 6 casts is maybe more than you. But still, yeah. Like, this is for your burst windows. 100%. With 3 minutes cooldown that triggers it. Choose one. Reign of Chaos. Well, while your initial Infernal is active, every soul shard you spend has a 15% chance to summon an additional Infernal that lasts 8 seconds. Yeah, we've saw that. We've had that. And Wilfred's Sigil of Superior Summoning. Every soul shard you spend reduces the cooldown of summon Infernal by 1.5 seconds. So, Reign of Chaos, if you need even more hard burst damage in short windows, Wilfred's Sigil probably is for your consistent infernal appearances on the scene and helping you out in more situations more often and stuff like that. So Warlock is interesting. Destruction definitely has its choices, definitely has its you need to test a lot of stuff to know and understand what is gonna be best in some situations. You can take you can be left without such a crucial powerful abilities that you've had, which is probably gonna be quite sad, but that's what the choice here is. As I probably will think. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good day. Goodbye.